All right. Welcome, everyone. I am SunDej, and today I have Dafingaz with me, and it is our Manifesting Through Music conference. So, if you're new to my content and my platform, the purpose of this conference is to educate independent artists and to connect them with music industry experts so we can make our music dreams a reality. So, first, I just want to say thank you for coming on and let the people know who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, Marcus Dafingaz, Dafingaz, because people can't spell in the industry. So
Right.
Dafingaz, and that is I'm a music producer and music composer, creating music for focusing on sync licensing and trailer music over the last years, really since the pandemic. Last year or two. Before that, church musician, grew up playing in the church and studied music in school. I do work corporate life, and the ultimate goal is working towards every day is to be able to get to making music full time. So working that one day at a time, working towards that.
Yes. So thank you for sharing. And once again, thank you for being here. Each speaker has a different focus, and we have anything from sync licensing to how to make sure your legal documents are in order. We're going to try to cover as many bases as we can during this series. So today, let's just talk about how you're serving the community and what you want to share that you feel more artists need to know.
Right now, I think the focus for me is it took me a while to get there, but I was always doing it over time. Has really just been networking. I was playing in church before the pandemic for over 25 years, so a lot of my time
Wow.
was consumed with learning other people's music. Learning Kirk Franklin, Ty Tribbett, James
Mhm.
Hall, Richard Smallwood, all these great musicians, great composers, and great songwriters. But I would spend way more time. It wasn't worth the time I was spending to learn all these songs, but I was just in it. I was doing it, playing organ, playing piano in church every Sunday. Great musicians, great choirs, singers. And when the pandemic hit, they sort of ushered the musicians out to church and went virtual. And I decided not to go back. I liked sleeping in on Sundays. I liked having weekends with family. I didn't have 3 or 4 rehearsals each week. That took at least 3 hours each time. So it's a lot of time I got back. So I was able to take that time and move it over to these other music projects that I've been doing over the last 2 years, and really focusing on where can I fit in musically outside of the church. And that's been the exploration and the path I've been on over the last 2 years.
Yes, I love that. You know what I find? Like a lot of the musicians that I talk to, they start in the church
Yeah.
and have that goal of transitioning from there to just being able to be where they want to be, you know. So
Yeah.
I love how, even though the pandemic kind of pushed you out of your comfort zone and what you were used to, you also landed in something better, you know?
Yeah.
So tell us more about the sync side of things and your involvement with that. And not only that, but also what opportunities you've been able to get from shifting from that time you spent in the church to using that free time to now build your own
Yeah.
brand and
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah. It was a journey from I would say from church to now. The first year of the pandemic, I really focused a lot on entering music contests. So I probably entered 200 contests in 2020,
Oh my
and music contests that would be either remix contests, sampling contests, composing contests where they give you like a video or a picture and it's like make music to this. So those were sort of like the three main contest categories I would enter. Entered over 200, probably won like or placed in like 10 of them. So winning percentage is fairly low. And then the second year, which was last year, that's when I started focusing on sync and taking that contest mentality. From the contest, I won a lot of the stuff you see behind me are from contest. Not the monkey. This where's the monkey? He's over here. That's from my work.
yes.
But the music gear from contests, and a lot of the hardware software I have, I would say about 75% of it is from contests now. And now it's different because companies reach out and like, hey, test this product. So now it's a little different, but it started from contest. Second year pandemic, last year, I was focusing on not so much on contests, but trying to learn about sync. I got my two biggest placements last year from a company called Hard Drive, HRDRV, and they opened up what's called a catalog club where they had opportunities for people that's part of the catalog club to submit to sync licensing. And my two biggest placements were from them last year were some I got some music into some episodes of BMF 50 Cent's
Oh,
show
wow.
on Stars. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, and it's crazy. It's like I sent in, they sent a brief for it for the tracks, the kind of tracks they wanted. I probably sent in like 5 tracks, and the company hard drive reached out and they're like the music supervisor of the show is really liking your music, send more. So I sent in like 10 more ideas, and they were like they're really liking the music, keep sending. So I think by the end of it I sent in maybe 20, 30 ideas. um, so yeah, just pouring sort of gasoline on the fire, so to speak, when you start seeing uh, things sort of take off. So that was sort of my journey, I'll say, back into sync, because I was into it a little bit over the years, where I had some music for on some other shows like Keeping Up with Kardashian and things like that, like way back in like
What?
the Real World Roll Rules. But I just
Yeah.
never thought about sync much. I just sent it. I sent music to a terrible company. It was a terrible deal, but I had music on shows and just never thought about it. And then last year I started really focusing on that. And then towards the end of last year, um, I was um, learning about trailer music, and I made the shift from really focusing on sync music to learning about trailer music. I put my first trailer music album out. And for those who don't know, trailer, like movie trailers, there's composers that make the music for movie trailers, TV trailers, video game trailers. And I put out my
Mhm.
first trailer album Thanksgiving last year, and put out the second one around Christmas. So it's been about a year. I've been in this trailer music journey, just studying that. So now I'm sort of like on both tracks with trailer music, sync licensing, sync placements, to some extent trying to do the songwriting, trying to get songs to rappers and things like that. But for me, the sync side of things is a little bit more. I don't want to say easier to get into, but for me, it's a little bit more easier to get into. I don't have to wait for someone to write a song and create something and then get it back and then go back and forth with notes. I can get a sync thing for a brief, and if I'm able to do it, I can sit down and write to it and send it off. And it's all sort of like I can do it on my time, be my own boss. But yeah, so
Mhm.
there's that. I have worked with singers and songwriters. I literally just submitted some music for a huge opportunity last night with some songwriters I collaborated with. So there's still some of that, but I'm able to basically do things on my own time and collaborate with the artists I want to collaborate with, who I know will get the job done in time. So yeah, been an interesting journey.
Yes, I love hearing about your journey so much. I had no idea like that you had your music in shows and like just all the different things that you have your hands in, right? Because
Yeah.
you started with doing sync, right? Transitioning from the church and then doing sync and to now trailers. So with all the things that you and you said you did over 200 contests, right? So
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
of all, I think number one, what people don't realize is the work that's happening behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
because so often like when we share those big moments, people think, well, oh, it must be easy, or they don't see the back end, all the things that are happening in the background that lead up to those big moments, right? Because really, all of them are necessary steps to get to that, right?
Yeah.
So, for any artists or musicians who are just starting out and they want to do, whether it's contests or get their music in shows, what are 3 to 5 things that you feel like they have to do these things? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sync or for contest or for anything in general.
I would say for sync,
Okay.
right? Because with the
Um,
contest, each process will be a little bit
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Really the best. There's people out there who sell things. Everyone, even I, sell things. People sell products and but for sync, just Google sync libraries. You can go on social media, hashtag sync libraries, hashtag sync licensing, sync placements, and just start researching. I found some great people online who I've been following over the last year who share sync advice. And then I've been sharing my own sync advice for my journey as I'm getting back into it, but it feels like I'm just starting brand new. So like sharing things that way. But Google, YouTube, there's so much out there now. There are people giving away free resources. There's free uh, lists of libraries you can submit music to. Everyone has their different quirks depending on what you need to submit. I like the libraries that send out emails and remind you of briefs. So right now I'm working with four, probably about four sync libraries and maybe 4 or 5 trailer music libraries because they are totally different. But yeah, I'm probably working with I'd say maybe 10 libraries total, which is also another thing. You got to be able to manage the different because I might have some weeks where I get nothing in, and then it's like the next week I get like messages from all 10. It's like, oh, I can't, there's no way I can submit to all these. So you have to pick and
Mhm.
choose. And for me, it's making sure that the ones I do choose are ones I can do. And it's just like contests, uh, I entered 200, probably placed in 10. That means there's 190 that I didn't win. So it's a numbers game. For sync licensing, you try to go for as many placements as you can. If possible, send in, if you have a lot of music for an opportunity, send in, a handful, and maybe one of them will land. So you just never know. But I would say first you gotta. This is assuming you have the music. So first you gotta have the music, and
Right.
the music doesn't have to be um, contrary to popular belief. It doesn't have to be like the best of the best. They a lot of times um, the best music doesn't land the opportunity. It's the people who you know get the music in on time. The people who it just works with the scene. It might not be the best thing. It's like, hey, it worked for this time. I needed it in 5 minutes. This person sent it in 4 minutes. We edited it and we can air it, whatever. So sometimes it's just best, right place, right time. So have the music. Follow the brief. There's deadlines, there's format requests, there is naming conventions, there's all these things. And if you don't know what a brief is, it's basically the rules of what they want. They might say we want a love song, or we want a hip hop song about about hate, a hip hop song about losing something. Or we just want a general song about whatever. So it can be very specific, all the way down to the key and tempo they want, because they used a track that they couldn't clear that was in this key and tempo. So now they need a replacement, or it can be still vague. It's like, hey, we just need a love song, that's 1 minute or less or 30 seconds. So it can vary, but follow the brief, make sure the music is up to par. And third, make sure your business is up and ready to go. You got to be registered. A lot of companies won't even work with you if you don't have a PRO. If you're not signed up as a writer, and some won't work with you if you don't have your own publishing. You're self-publishing. So in the U.S., ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. Most people use ASCAP or BMI. There are some people argue one is better than the other. It really just be signed to one, basically, to make sure you get associated money. And then there's like all these other platforms to consider. Whether you need to use Sound Exchange, Song Trust. There's different things for registering your music, and it can be a huge rabbit hole. So make sure you study the business of it, so that you get everything that you deserve. And a lot of that can be done on Google and YouTube. I mean, you'll get a million links, but you got to learn how to vet those links to make sure the ones that are skip the ones that are sponsored, the ones that people pay for to be at the top of the search. And when you're searching, skip those. Usually there's 3 or 4 that pay to be at the top of Google search when you type in like sync or whatever you type in Google. Skip those. It'll say sponsored or paid or ad or whatever. Skip those and start going through the normal search stuff.
Okay. Perfect. This was amazing. I wish we had more time because I feel like we are just scratching the surface right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say thank you again for coming on.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's interested in connecting with you outside of this conference, on your personal platforms or wherever you spend your time most, give them your information so that they can connect with you after the conference as well.
Yeah. So I actually put out a networking guide. So a lot of the stuff a lot of the opportunities that have been coming my way over the last year are just from networking, meeting the right people, telling them I make music. Anyone from like an Uber driver to, someone you meet in the store, like, hey, I make music, to even coworkers. I do work full time. So if you work full time, just tell everyone what you do. You never know where opportunities come from. So if you go to dafingaz.com, so dafingaz.com/networking, I have a guide there that will give you 7 sort of networking tips. So dafingaz.com, dafingaz.com/networking. And then other than that, you can follow me on social media, dafingaz on all platforms. I mostly post to Instagram, so you can start there. But Dafingaz, Dafingaz.
Yes. Well, once again, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And for anybody who wants more details on the conference, make sure you're following me on Instagram as well. And hop on my email list because everyone who attends the conference, I'll have a list of every resource, including the one from today, the networking resource for all the attendees. So make sure you're locked in, and we'll see you in the next segment. Bye.